Some lives teach values that echo through generations. Some footsteps lead humanity onto paths of renewed hope and life. Some examples shine forever like an undying lamp. Some words and wisdom blossom as guiding
is the living embodiment of love poured out in service. Her devotion and discipline reveal the quiet beauty of consecrated life. A courageous Christian woman who walked upon the sacred soil of India, her holiness rose to its summit and was solemnly recognized by the Church. Proclaimed venerable, she now stands as a guiding light for our times. The life of Venerable Mary Glowery is not a memory of the past, it is a living flame.
And special prayers for priests and doctors. Mary's mother shaped her soul in prayer. Her father formed her mind in discipline and responsibility. Between prayer and duty, Mary learned an essential truth that
mind was sharp, but her heart was always attentive to those who suffered.
Mary first began studies in the arts, but prayer and discernment, supported by her father's encouragement, led her to medicine. In 1910, she completed her MBBS at the University of Melbourne, and in 1919, her MD. She specialized in gynecology, obstetrics, and ophthalmology, fields touching life and sight. Colleagues recognized her as a woman of extraordinary intelligence, remarkable discipline, and uncommon of the Catholic Women's Social Guild, giving voice to social justice and dignity to women.
On October 24th, 1915, Mary read a pamphlet about Dr. Agnes McLaren, a 72-year-old Scottish doctor serving poor women in India. The words stirred her soul. Before God, Mary had courage to surrender everything familiar for a land she had never seen.
And compassion as her chosen path, Mary left the shores of Australia on January 21, 1920. From Melbourne Harbour, she bid a gentle, smiling farewell to her beloved parents. She set sail for India, beginning a sacred journey that would transform her life into a lifelong offering of love and service.
A young woman stepped onto Indian soil with only one weapon in her hands: service. She carried no guarantees, no safety nets, only a heart set ablaze with a love for God and humanity. Guided by the counsel of Archbishop John Allen, she journeyed from Madras and arrived in Guntur on 12th February 1920. For the JMJ sisters, her arrival was not merely an event, it was a moment of grace. Mary herself would later recall that first encounter in her own words. The moment I stepped onto the platform at Bezawada railway station, a teacher's gentle smile welcomed me like a blessing. From there, we proceeded to Guntur, and there, on a horse-drawn carriage, my life, led by God's will, reached the gates of St. Joseph's Convent. At that sacred threshold, Sister Ludwini and Mother Elizabeth, the first pillars of the JMJ mission in India, embraced me with boundless joy, motherly tenderness, and deep affection. Our mission had found its messenger.
In Guntur, Mary knelt for the first time in St. Agnes Church, standing silently before the image of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. In that stillness, she felt as though Christ Himself stretched out His hands, inviting her lovingly and personally. Above the altar were the words that pierced her soul, "The Lord is here and He is calling you." Mary knew without doubt that God was calling her, setting her apart for a mission of love. Responding to that call on 27 May 1920, she entered the Society of Jesus Mary Joseph JMJ as a postulant. She began her novitiate on 28 November 1920 and received her religious name Sister Mary of the Sacred Heart. Made her first profession on 29 November 1921 and finally on 29 November 1924 consecrated herself forever to God through her perpetual vows. At that time, canon law did not permit religious sisters to practice medicine. Yet, Providence intervened. Through the advocacy of Archbishop John Allen, Pope Benedict XV granted Sister Mary Glowery a rare and historic permission to continue her medical mission. Thus, she became the world's first woman religious missionary doctor, etching her name forever into the history of the Church and humanity.
She faced blistering heat, water scarcity, power outages, and the heavy barrier of an unfamiliar language. Yet, none of these slowed her resolve. Day after day, she treated every patient with tender compassion and unwavering dedication, earning a trust that few could command. Alone, with tireless energy, she accomplished the work of 4 or 5 doctors, never with haste, or sacrifice and prayer.
Trained in the finest Australian hospitals, she arrived in Guntur to find almost nothing. Yet she never retreated. A few medical instruments from Australia were her treasures. Old wooden boxes became her cupboards. Holding a lamp in the darkness, traveling by bullock cart with fellow sisters, entering mud huts where death itself seemed to hesitate, she became a mother to pregnant women, a refuge for orphans, a living flame of hope for everyone in need. To ease the burden of the poor, she used affordable Indian medicines. She healed not only with prescriptions, but by gently urging patients to pray before the Blessed Sacrament.
Living Gospel. For Mary Glowery, spirituality and service were inseparable. Strength drawn from prayer flowed directly into tireless action. In her daily prayer, she would whisper, "Lord, teach me to forget myself completely. Fulfill your holy will in me." She never sought recognition. She walked humbly, loving endlessly, giving without measure.
Her life was holy, her witness exemplary. Her actions spoke louder than any words. She paved a golden path of love. By training Indian women in nursing, midwifery, pharmacy, and first aid, she did more than educate, she empowered. She proved that women could rise, serve, and transform society with dignity and skill.
She believed that while an individual heals a few, untiring service, though afflicted by cancer and weakened in body, her spirit never faltered. Even amid intense physical suffering, her service did not cease. In her final moments, when her life had already been poured out without reserve, her words revealed the depth of her humility and love. She whispered, "I have not done enough. I could have done more." These were not words of regret, but the final echo of a heart that never measured love by limits. Surrounded by her fellow sisters, she peacefully entered eternal rest in Bengaluru on May 5th, 1957 at the age of 69. Her final words were a prayer.
Jesus, Mary, Joseph, my Jesus, I love you.
This was not an end, it was a proclamation. Thus ended her earthly journey, yet her mission did not end.
Despair. She never saw medicine as a profession or a means of livelihood. For her, healing was a sacred vow. In her eyes, the patient who entered the hospital was never a bed number, never a diagnosis. In every suffering face, she recognized the living image of God. Often, it was not medicine alone that healed. It was her compassion, her gentle presence, her quiet reassurance that restored wholeness to broken lives.
Her service was never confined to hospital walls. Her unwavering commitment to
Death. The echo of Mary Glowery's life continued to live in human hearts. Recognizing the holiness of her life and the greatness of her service, the Catholic Church in 2013 declared her Servant of God. This marked the first official step in affirming her sanctity, a solemn recognition of a life lived quietly without seeking praise, yet radiant with heroic love. It was an honor bestowed not by applause but by truth. True miracles.
Through her life, Mary Glowery whispers to every consecrated woman, a heart dedicated to God will never be defeated. A life led by God learns peace even amid hardship. A woman who prays in silence can move heaven itself. Steps taken in sacrifice fulfill the will of God. Consecrated life is not weakness. It is a life clothed in God's strength. Every woman who responds to His call becomes a living witness to divine love.
To those in the medical profession, Mary Glowery remains a guiding star. In a world where healthcare is increasingly commercialized, her life reminds us a patient is a person, not a product. Medicine is not only a science, it is a profoundly human art. Treatment without compassion, she showed us, is like a body without a soul. Through her integrity and dedication, she redefined what it means to heal.
Today, her journey continues toward beatification and canonization. With faith and hope, the Church and people across the world seek her intercession, praying that her life may soon be officially proclaimed as a gift not only to the Church but to all humanity. This is more than a religious process. It is a global affirmation of compassion, dignity, and selfless service.
Though Venerable Mary Glowery is no longer physically among us. The flame she lit has never gone out. The institution she founded, the values she embodied, continue to inspire countless doctors, nurses, and servants of humanity. As time moves forward, her light only grows brighter.